Hi guys, so sometimes I've been critical or maybe overly critical of James O'Brien when he utters the phrase compassion for the conned, contempt for the con men. However, on Friday he received a call from a man who voted for Brexit, and I believe he's one of those very few people who voted not only because they believed the lies of Farage and Johnson and others, but because he thought it would turn things around. It would inject new enthusiasm into Britain. He cited the reasons why he voted to leave. Have a listen.
Totally different subject.
Oh, hang on. All right. You got me nervous now. Go on.
No. Well, I'm maybe the type of person you want. I do feel conned. I voted out.
Okay.
And I'll tell you for why. I voted out. I'm coming towards the end of my working life, and I've worked in industry all my life. And it's depleted over the last 40-odd years.
Yeah.
And I voted out because I thought it would force who's ever in power to train our youngsters. And then to see Boris go off to India to beg them for IT workers, they've had years and they've done nothing now about putting in training for nurses, well, everything, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I feel conned.
Well, you were conned, but there's no shame in it, George. The effort they put into doing it was immense, and that's a noble, admirable motivation. The problem, partly, is that even if we were training our young people, we still would have nowhere near enough to fill the kind of vacancies that are growing up now.
I get that, but
they could have done both, couldn't they?
Yeah, we could have done both, and actually to my own detriment, because I like the sunshine and I like going abroad, and coming up to retirement, want to spend more time abroad.
Of course.
But it's to my own detriment, because we've got areas of this country where people are, sitting around, not doing anything, and I think they'd have to have a proper plan. This country depresses me at times. We should be more like Germany. We should have more consensus politics. We should have areas where there's a plan and it's signed up, agreed, hopefully with the Labour and the Liberals. So when the government changes, like say a training plan, a national training plan, the plan doesn't change. There's nothing. I can't see a thing. I've never voted Conservative, by the way.
No.
But I just can't see a thing. How are they going to train our youngsters?
Yeah.
Now, I think this is a very interesting and very important call, because this man raised a very important point at the very beginning. He talked about why he voted to leave, and he thought that it would help young people get jobs. And so on the surface, that doesn't make any sense. But if you actually dig a little bit deeper, it does. On a rhetorical sense, if you're someone like Farage or Boris Johnson or Jacob Rees-Mogg, and you're trying to sell something to people, you're trying to sell them a lie. Well, you point to the fact that there are many young people not able to get a job, and then you point to the fact that there are many young people from abroad working in companies, and what you say is you connect the two, and you say, look, if we can send these people home, it will create jobs for local people. So the reason that your son or your daughter or your grandson or granddaughter or whoever can't get a job is because this foreigner has taken the job instead. And if it's as simple as that, if the message is as simple as that, then you're going to convince people. I'm not saying that these people are racist or bigots or xenophobic. Some of them, of course, are. But many ordinary people buy that argument. Look, my son can't get a job. My daughter can't get a job. My grandson, granddaughter can't find a job. They're on the dole. They're on universal credit. They've been trying to find a job. There's nothing available. And when I look around, I see younger people, middle-aged people from abroad here working in the country. They have found jobs. How is it possible they found jobs and my son or daughter can't? And then in steps someone like Farage or Boris Johnson or Jacob Rees-Mogg, and they tell you, look, we have a simple solution. If we leave the European Union, will be able to stop that. And there'll be jobs for your sons and daughters. And if it's sold as simple as that, people will lap it up. Now, of course, it was built on sand. It was built on lies. And we're seeing the consequences of that now. And the man, he said he was conned. And look, I'm not here to dance on anyone's grave or anything. It takes courage to come out and say, yes, I was wrong. And he was conned. So many people all around Britain are thinking the same thing, but they're afraid to say it. So there is courage here that needs to be respected and acknowledged. He wanted something positive. He believed that voting to leave would create jobs for young people, create training for young people, because there are so many jobs available. Young people need to be trained up. If they can't be trained up, the companies will hire people from abroad. So obviously he bought into the rhetoric that, well, if we turn off the tap to employment from abroad, companies in Britain would be forced to hire people in the UK, British citizens. If they can't find them, we can train them up. But the problem with the Tories is that they haven't invested in training. They've cut training. And they've imposed restrictions on companies to hire from abroad, but not provided opportunities for young people. And I understand this man's frustration, and I understand his anger. Thankfully, he said he never voted for the Conservative Party, and he never will. But many people up and down the country have voted for the Tories, and will again, unfortunately. But the wrong people are in charge. Now, he also talked about something which was very interesting, is having consensus, having governments of, in a sense, national unity, and having some sort of idea that is not restricted to one particular party or one particular session of Parliament. So a plan to train people up, that it's not implemented in one Parliament and removed in the next, that it spans multiple parliaments. It has to be long-term thinking. And I think Britain needs that going forward. But you're not going to get it with Boris Johnson and the Tories. So they need to be removed from power. But I think a way you could eventually achieve something like that would be through proportional representation, not through the first past the post model. So once again, I have to say kudos to this man for coming forward. Kudos to him for being honest and having the courage to say that he was conned. Not all Brexiteers are the same. Not all Brexit voters, I should say, are the same. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.